Now, this has to be someone's hobby project, as this has no right to sound that good and be less than $100. I'm serious. This is not a hook for your attention. TPA3116 is well known by now and superseded by TPA3255. That's very popular choice. But it seems someone just either loved 3116 or just had a side project with the goal of squeezing every ounce of performance from twin 3116, like a challenge or a bet. So this is SMSL AO10 amplifier. It has a remote, it has internal power supply, it has metal chassis, it has display, it has trigger control, and it's less than $100. It's actually $99. So that should be the real hook for you. All of those things for less than $100. As this price just seems to be some sort of a scam. So let's talk about manufacturer's data on this amplifier I got from Aoshida at the end of December. This uses internally two Texas Instruments Class D amplifiers, TPA3116. It does have Bluetooth connectivity. It does support 5.3 version with SBC and AAC codecs, so no fancy Bluetooth codecs here. It does have tone controls. The output power is specified as 100 watts per channel into 2 ohms. That goes down to 70 watts into 4 ohms per channel, and probably that would be something like 50, maybe 55 watts per channel into 8 ohms. But the manufacturer data do not specify the output power into 8 ohms, so I'm just guessing. Okay, so we do have equalizer with 5 presets, I think. We have THD plus noise less than 0.02%, so that's quite nice. Not the best on the market, but quite nice. The frequency response is anything between 20 Hz and 20 kHz. The crosstalk is very nice. It's more than 103 decibels. That's because we are using two separate amplifiers, one for each channel. And the power needed to get this guy running is 56 watts when it's playing music. That's according to the specification. When I was measuring that with my power strip, that was something like 54 watts, but that's within a margin of error. Okay, so let's talk about the functionality and let's talk about the build. The first thing, the menu system and the options. The first thing I actually want to talk about here is the thing that is not covered by the manual. You see, you can switch inputs using this button on the remote, yes, and that works quite nice. But how do you switch the inputs from the front panel? It's nowhere in the menu system. Yep. We will talk about that a little bit later. So the answer to the riddle is that you need to do a double click on the knob. So, oh, that was too slow. Let's get back from the menu. Let's turn it on again. Yep. And with a short double click, we can switch inputs. Okay, now let's talk about the menu systems. I've told you it does support bass and treble control, tone controls, and it also does have some equalizer profiles preset, and those profiles are described in the manual for this amplifier. So, in order to access the menu, we need to click the knob once, and we can choose the equalizer setting. EQ0 means direct bypassing of the tone controls, ET means tone controls, and E1 through E5, I'm choosing the pre-programmed equalizer profile. So let's leave it at direct. Then we have actual treble control from -7 up to +7, and this control works only if in previous position we chose ET, meaning equalizer tone control. And the same goes for bass. We can control it from -7 up to +7 decibels. Let's leave it at 0. And we can control the backlight. Only two settings. I think you can see that the backlight 2 is way brighter. And the last one is pretty important because this actually controls the triggers on this amplifier. T0 means that trigger control is disabled. T1 means that this amplifier will control the connected devices, but it won't accept control from anything outside. T2 means that it will accept control from external device, and it can control devices connected in the chain down below. Okay, so that was all about the menu system. It's pretty simple because this is basically just an amplifier with Bluetooth input. Okay, let's disconnect that guy. And in front we have LCD display with IR controller that's somewhere over here. As you can see, we also have a power status LED. And the manual says that this guy has internal Bluetooth antenna that's somewhere behind the display. We have the volume control knob that doubles as a switch. Nothing interesting on the top or on the sides. 4 rubber legs on the bottom. And in the back we have power socket connector, one set of speaker outputs for the right and for the left channel. Those guys will accept bananas and bare wire. They will not accept spade connectors. As you can see, there is a space for the bare wire, but they will not accept spades. We have one set of RCA single-ended inputs for left and right channels, and we have two sets of trigger control ports. These are basically just regular mono 3.5mm jacks, and one cable is included with the amplifier in the box. So using this port you can control AO10 with external device, and using this port you can control other external devices that will power on and off when you will power on or off your amplifier. So let's take a look inside. I've already removed the 4 screws at the bottom, and I've removed 2 of the 3 screws at the top. So let's just remove the last one. And let's take a look inside. We need to slide back the chassis, and we can take a look inside. And what do we see here? Let's rotate it like that so you'll be able to read the descriptions on the PCB. So we have a power section over here that's separated from the rest of the board. We have cutouts like those here, and we have some lines printed on the board. Also, some interesting information: do not touch, and high voltage warning. Okay, that guy is glued to the PCB, and unfortunately it's done in such a way that I am not able to tell you either the manufacturer or the capacity of that capacitor. I just can't see that. Then we have the actual amplifier section with volume control chip and with microcontroller for the logic of the amplifier. The amplifier section is using 2 TPA amplifiers, and they are using one single heatsink, but underneath that heatsink there are actually 2 chips. You may be able to see that right now by looking at the thermal pads. One of them, the white line, is here, and the second one is over here. So we have 2 separate amplifiers for 2 channels. The volume control and tone controls are realized by JRC 7391A. EALA. EALA? I don't know how to pronounce that. That guy. Here we can also see that we have some chips that had been sanded down. That's where's my pointer? That's the one here, and there was a second one over here. Those guys are probably operational amplifiers, and usually I would expect them to be sanded down if they are probably low quality operational amplifiers like NE5532. But in this case, in this particular case, I refuse to believe so, because, and that's a spoiler, this amplifier sounds too good to be using 5552 at the inputs. Why? Because 5552 usually is used to make D-class amplifiers sound a little bit smoother, because it's veiled and it's a little bit muddy. So it slows them down, but it also causes loss of the resolution of such an amplifier. And this amplifier is excellent when it comes to the resolution. Okay, what else? We do have a microcontroller here that's controlling the whole logic of this amplifier. We also do have NTC that works as a fuse, that black guy over here, and I can already feel for the guys that will need to replace that after some kind of power surge, because it's not very easy to access. And what else? I think that's all. You can see that the board is marked by SMSL AO10. Yeah. What else? One thing more. I'm not sure what kind of voltage this power section is producing, although the caps are specified for up to 25 volts. Those guys are for 55 volts, and you can see control points for the voltage for the plus 10 and minus 10 volts here. So I would guess that's something like 20 volts, which is not a standard value. It's not 24, it's not 56, it's not 48 volts. And that may be interesting because the voltage and the amperage of the power supply here translates directly into the power output. And this guy has quite nice power output when you're looking at the 2-ohm figures, but it's just 50, maybe 55 watts per channel into 8 ohms. So that would correspond with those guys here, specifying minus 10 and plus 10. Also, we have a quite a nice set of control points on the board. All of them are described nicely. So if you'd like to play with your oscilloscope, there's your playground. Okay, so give me a second, I will close that guy and I will tell you about the sound quality. Just a second. Okay, so we're back and let's talk about the sound quality of this guy. As usual, let's start with the bass. There are 2 types of Class D bass. The first one is fast, it's precise, but sometimes it does lack bother and may seem hollow. The other one, and that's the one we have here, that's the one that's good, is both fast and precise, but it also sounds full with a lot of meat on the bones. And that's what we get here. The bass has great extension, it really goes very low, and it has a powerful rumble, which is quite surprising given the output power of this amplifier. It was able to control, to properly control my Martin Logan electrostats, which is an amazing feat because those guys drop down to 1.2 ohms in the treble region. And this guy was perfectly fine with that. The official specification says it's good up to 2 ohms load. So I guess 1.2 ohm doesn't make a big difference for AO10. Okay, let's get back to the bass. It has a powerful rumble and there is just right amount of beat mass. It's very well controlled and it has a very good texture. It sounds rich, and if I wouldn't have known, I would say this is a quite nice Class AB amplifier, not Class D. And that's a very big compliment here. As I've said, there are two types of bass. One could be hollow sometimes. This is not the case here. We have a really nice bass control here, even though this amplifier is not super powerful. Now, the mid-range. The mid-range is very clean and detailed, but it does exhibit some degree of dryness in some, to be fair, very few tracks that I'm using for my test purposes. One of those is Sylvia Hotel by Cheryl Wheeler, and she starts singing with This is a Lonely Life, and S's in This is are here very pronounced, as they should be, but they lack that tiny bit of smoothness. Those few first words, those few first sounds are a very good way to test if the amplifier is sibilant or not, and this guy is not, and at the same time if the amplifier can give you a smooth S sound or not. And this amplifier usually does that correctly, but in this particular case it's on the verge of getting into dry territory. Okay, so here those sounds are not sibilant, so AO10 does not cross that fine line. All in all, I really like the vocals here for the clarity and neutrality. And as usual with Class D, adding a tube preamplifier gave extremely good mid-range. I loved And So It Goes by Jennifer Warnes with this small guy. Moving on to treble, and that's a highlight. I really like the treble that AO10 delivers. It's exactly my type of treble. It's extended, it's airy, it's super clean, and it's super detailed, but not in an analytical way. Treble here has the clarity that many way more expensive amps struggle to deliver. So this is a real highlight. Another highlight is resolution. The resolution this guy is able to provide really stands out. I've started my serious listening sessions when I'm taking notes with Keep Don't Go, that's classic. And I was totally surprised by the amount of the things from the audience, the ambient sounds that I was able to hear. And the same was happening for the strings, for the guitar strings in this song. Their vibrating sounds were separate, if you know what I mean, not blending into one single sound. So that area is really, really good. And that's quite surprising because TPA3116 is maybe not exactly old, but it does have a few years right now. And that's why I've started my review saying that this seems to be someone's side project. Someone really had to love that chip and tried to squeeze everything that's possible from this Texas Instruments integrated Class D amplifier. Now, Soundstage and imaging. The stage is quite wide, and you quickly lose the position of the speakers. There is some depth information, there is some layering, and some things get projected in front of the speaker line, and some of them are projected behind the speaker line. But all in all, it's a typical Class D soundstage. It is precise, but it's not super deep. Everything is happening very close, one layer to another. Interestingly, the images have quite precise location, but they have slightly fuzzy boundaries. So if you have a singer in the front, in the center of the stage, if you have a guitar, if you have a percussion on the sides, you will be able to pinpoint the locations of those instruments and the vocal. But if you try to look for the boundaries of those sound sources, you realize that they are slightly fuzzy, that you cannot exactly pinpoint where, let's say, the vocalist ends and starts. So there's that. They are not etched like with some other Class D amplifiers, and I actually like that. I would like them to be a little bit more precise, but not etched like a single sharp line. Now, before I get to the summary, a couple of things. The first one, the volume control. Let's turn this guy on. The volume control seems to be linear. This means that in order to achieve quite a large volume change, we need to wait for quite a long time. And also another thing connected with the volume control is that it just takes time. Usually, if you want to quickly raise or lower the volume, you will just keep the volume control button pressed, right? So let's try that here. Let's press the button, and it's not super fast. I can actually do that faster by clicking on the button myself, and let's lower that down. There's two things. The first one, that it seems to be linear, and the second one, that the clicks are so slow. It just takes quite a lot of time to raise or lower the volume. On the positive side, it's also allowing you to precisely set the volume, but then again, more often I was wanting to lower the volume in a very quick way when someone from the house was shouting to me something, and I wanted to hear what's all that about. Okay, so A10 reminded me why I liked so much TPA3116 based amplifiers back a few years ago. They deliver tons of clarity resolution in a very transparent and open way. I actually didn't like the first TPA3255 amplifiers. The first well-known was A07 from AIMA that got glowing reviews, especially on ISR. And I got one. I read the review, I read the measurements, I got one, and I realized that even after changing the operational amplifiers, it was quite muddy and it was quite slow. So I got back to Breeze TPA3116 based amplifier. And that guy brings all of those good memories back because it has very good resolution, very good transparency and clarity. So, getting back to my summary, amplifiers based on TPA3116 are not as popular right now, but they are still a great choice when it comes to performance. They sound really good. I would even dare to say that I like 5116 more than TPA3255, and that they are more affordable, the amplifiers based on the older chip. But they are not as powerful. That's one single biggest difference. TPA3255 is able to deliver staggering amounts of power when powered properly, and that's why you usually have those separate power bricks that are 48 volts, 56 volts. Some of them are able to deliver 10 amperes, so those are monsters. And one more thing that I probably should mention when I was talking about the price. If you look on AliExpress for power supplies like that, you realize that the 48 volts and 10 amperes power supply can be actually more expensive than this amplifier as it is including the internal power supply. So that's an interesting comparison. For the price of the power supply alone, you can get a complete amplifier with power supply, with remote control, etc., etc. So, three things that I liked about this amplifier and three things that I disliked. The three things I liked: the first one, the bass. It's fabulous. It's clean and it's filling easily the whole room. And the second one, the resolution. A10 went with flying colors for all of my test tracks when it comes to the resolution. And the third one, clarity and transparency. These are not that common even with pricey amplifiers. It's not easy to get that sense of effortless presentation. And three things, actually two of them, that I would wish were better. The first one, Volume remote control is just too slow. I think I don't have to dwell on that. You just need to experience that on your own. The second thing, depth of the soundstage. I wish the stage would be deeper, but I realized that this area is very hard to get right even with amplifiers that are many times the price. And D-Class had always struggled with the depth of the soundstage, and this guy is not a different beast. So that's what you're getting for the money. And as I've said, no third point on the list. I was trying, but I really couldn't think of anything else. With that in mind, I really do like this amplifier, and it will stay a part of my collection for the sheer value it provides. It's just $99, and that's the base price. Any kind of sale coupons will lower that. And I think I would need to spend twice as much to get something that sounds significantly better. So this guy gets my honest recommendation. And thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day. If you have any questions, give me a shout in the comments. All of the necessary links in the comments. All of my test system setup details in the video description. Thank you, guys, and see you next time.